YouTube, it's your boy FPL and I'm back here with a brand new video. Today I've got for you my Game Week 22 team review as well as Game Week 23 team selections. This week, however, I do not have any transfer plans as I'm looking to roll. So I'm going to be covering the cheap strategy as there is a double game week coming up in Game Week 24 where Liverpool as well as Everton double. So let's dive in. Let's talk about what the cheap strategy is. We're also going to look at what is the best free hit, whether to free hit in 29 or 34. Or is it best to save that free hit for maybe potential double game week in 33 or 36? So let's dive in. So there you have it, boys. Your boy absolutely smashed it in Game Week 22. 73 points. My old rank was 12k. My new rank is 4k. Back in the top 10k finally. Since Game Week 12, I think I dropped out of the top 10k when I captained Haaland versus Spurs. And he put up an absolute stinker. So it's nice to be back. Your boy's back. Revenge season is on. We finally got back to where we were before in Game Week 11, 12-ish. Your boy was, to start the season, I had a really good start. I was in the top 10k for at least, good 2 months. So nice to be back. Now, first and foremost, shout out to Sir Philip Foden, the man himself, the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Straight shooter. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him, as well as Mateta, the French phenom. Absolutely smashed it with 2 goals. And Phil Foden with 2 goals and an assist, and all the bonus points, of course. So these are the differentials that I was so excited about, and I was waiting for their whole. Like the minute Saka got injured, I said, yes, I knew that would be my Saka replacement, which is Foden. Because a lot of people did go for the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Odegaard, and maybe other assets such as Luis Diaz. So these are the players that people were going for. But I saw a gap in the market where I saw, look, City are down bad. They're not in the best of form. Foden is not even in the best of form himself either. But he was last year's, Premier League Player of the Year. So ultimately, I knew that there was going to be a time where the form comes back and fixtures breed form. And they had phenomenal fixtures. And I didn't want to go to Haaland. So I said, what's the next best option? Let's go to the next last year's Player of the Year, Mr. Sir Philip Foden. I think he had like 30 Gs last year. So listen, this was a no-brainer. This was the pick. This is the banker. And your boy Sir Philip Foden absolutely smashed it. I'm so thankful to have him. And obviously Mateta. These are the differentials that actually, I think I was like 3 weeks ago, I was like 39,000 in the world. So in like 3 weeks, I've ranked rise to what? Almost 35k. And I'm back to 4k. It's insane. So shout out to these 2 differentials. I'm really, really happy to own them. Around the other team, obviously my transfer paid off. I bought in Chris Wood. You can't go wrong with Chris Wood. The guy's gonna return every week. The haters are gonna hate. Let them hate. We get 1 touch, 1 goal. He was gonna be. To be honest, he was actually the best captain of the week. Instead of Salah, Palmer, we should have gone Chris Wood. Look, he was always a viable option, but we knew the risk was there because Salah, Palmer could pop up for 15, 16 points any given game week. So I'm not too fussed about the captaincy. I know a lot of people went with Palmer, even though he was injured out. I just didn't see the logic behind it because ultimately, if the guy is the injured out, either he's not gonna have the best performance, or he's gonna be coming off early, or he's gonna be potentially benched. So these are the pros and the cons I weighed in, and I ultimately with Salah. So Salah did outscore the template. Not the template, but I guess the next highest EO captain, which was Palmer. But obviously, you can't beat Sir Chris Wood, man. The guy's different. And then at the back line, really disappointed. I did bring in Nico Williams for Southampton at home, and the fact that they conceded 2 goals is quite disappointing. He only had 1 punter, and ultimately it didn't make a difference. I did bench Gabriel, and it didn't make a difference. Both Gabriel and Nico Williams got 1 point. And Lewis Hall continues to hold, man. Almost another hole, but they got battered by Bournemouth, and he came up with the assist. He did get subbed off early, though. Maybe there are some concerns there, but when Trippier came on, he didn't play that better either. So I do think he should be fine moving forward. And listen, he's returning every week. You can't complain about that. Arsenal defense continues to disappoint. Double Arsenal defense in the bed. Might have to, move away from the double Arsenal defense. But it's tricky right now, considering how many fixtures, good fixtures are actually coming right now for them. They got Wolves next. So it's going to be difficult. But overall, happy with the team. Nice to be back in the top 5k. Let's hope we can keep pushing, and potentially get in the top 1k in the near future. So now let's move on to Game Week 23 team selection. So for Game Week 23, I'm lining up with Raya, Gabriel, Haaland, Trent at the back. The fixtures are actually sea of green, man. Those fixtures for every single one of the defenders on paper, by the way, on paper. We know that, in any given game week, any team can score. We saw what Southampton did to Forest. They scored 2 goals. So I don't want to get too happy looking at these fixtures. But ultimately, on paper, this defense does look top tier. Like, it doesn't get any better than this. I'll be shocked, shell shocked, if this defense doesn't average 20 points next week, bro. Honest to God, I would be shell shocked. So, Southampton, Wolves, Ipswich. If you were to write down what are the fixtures to target for clean sheets, these are probably the best ones. So, let's see. Arsenal have been quite disappointing. I'm still keeping the faith. I still have Raya. I could have potentially gone to Allison because they have Ipswich at home and he's doubles in game week 24. But I just feel like it's a bit of a sideways move considering the fact that Raya does have good fixtures in and around the next 3 to 4 weeks. And what's the gain? Like maybe extra 6 or 7 points. I'm going to use a transfer for a keeper. I don't think it's worth it. And we also heard on the news that Saliba is back in training, somewhat training, and he should be available for Wolves. But listen, even if he's not available for Wolves, ultimately he'll be back for City and the following fixtures. So I guess I'm somewhat happy to still hold on to double loss on defense. Not too happy though. So yeah, Hull, Southampton away, great fixtures. I hope we can get another haul. And Trent with Ipswich, expecting a big haul too. In midfield, you got Salah, Palmer, just a template, and then you got Mr. Sir Philip Foden, the goat himself, as well as Ahmad. Foden, I'm still keeping him. He has Chelsea at home. I do think it's a good fixture for attackers, as well as I think, look, like Foden, I feel like a lot of people are kind of, a bit late on that party now. If you are buying him, I slightly think it's a bit late, considering the next 3 or 4 fixtures are Arsenal, Liverpool, Forest, and Spurs. In between that, not the most ideal fixtures, so I do not think he's a buy. However, if you have him holding for this week, and then you can reassess next week. If you're planning to maybe, I guess not free hit, or if you're planning to target fixtures, because Mbimo does have great fixtures, so you can go to him. But if you wanted to hold him through those tough run, you could. Like the guy's in the form of his life. But I'm personally looking to sell him for Mbimo because I do have a plan to use the AM chip on slot 24. So that's my cash cow ultimately. Once I sell him, I'll have 1.6 or something million in the bank, and I could easily get slot as well as Mbimo. Ahmad, Fulham away, ideal fixture, not really. I still think he can get something. Listen, if United score or assist, it's most likely going to be Bruno or Ahmad. So I'm going to start him. And Enzo is injured anyway, so most likely Enzo is going to be benched. And then captaincy this week, I guess there's a bit of a debate because, Isak is Southampton away as well as Salah is Ipswich at home. But I feel like, look, Ipswich just considered 6 goals to City, man. Like, it's hard to go against Mo. His EO is going to be, again, another 160% or something. It's like, if you go with Isak and the Newcastle have another stinker like they did versus Bournemouth, oh, man, the swing is going to be ridiculous. So I wouldn't hedge my bets right now. I'm playing a bit safe. We're later on in the season right now where we're getting to the crunch time and you do not want to be taking too many risks. So I'm playing a bit more safer now. I guess if you're really chasing, definitely target maybe Isak, but maybe this is not the week. Some are considering even triple captaining Salah versus Ipswich. So, be careful if you do go there. Now, moving on to the forwards, Chris Wood, Mr. Consistent, Bournemouth way. People are selling him for Gakpo and this guy and that guy. That's a bad move, guys. I do not recommend it. This guy has already 14 GAs, or more than that. I think probably 16 GAs this season, and he's continued to score every week. This is not a sell, guys. You keep him if you have him. So I'm happy to have him as well. And then you got Mateta, my differential, Brentford at home. This guy, man, what a transfer that was. I'm so thankful. Alhamdulillah, bro. This guy's been banging in goals every week. And this is one player I would say is a buy. I'm not going to lie. He has good fixtures coming up with Brentford as a great entry point. And only negative to that buying him right now or any Newcastle assets, for example, Gordon, is that you got to look at your team and see how many Newcastle as well as Palace and Liverpool players you have. If you have above 6 or 7 already, I do not recommend this move because then you're kind of slowly locking yourself for a free hit in 29, where we are predicting that both Newcastle as well as Liverpool are to go through. That means, Liverpool and Villa will blank, as well as Palace and Newcastle. And if you already have 7 and 8 players, you got to have at least 5 transfers or 4 transfers to be able to manage and navigate blank 29, which we'll touch on the next chip strategy section anyways. So I think Mateta, if you don't have too many of those players, you can potentially get him. He's still a great buy. But yeah, ultimately, I'm happy to own him. And let's hope he can smash it versus Brentford. And last but not least, as I said, Isak, great captain shout. Most likely my advice will be on him. But, I I don't know, man. I just feel like if I wanted to back against more this whole season, I've been saying I want to take him on with Palmer, and I've been wrong. Like Isak has proven me wrong, where he got a 16 pointer and Salah got 7 points. So look, you can go there. It's not a bad shot at all. I don't want to put you off if you fancy a risk, but my captaincy is on Salah. On the bench, I have Fabianski, Nico Williams, Enzo, and Greaves. I can't really see myself starting Nico Williams ahead of Hall, Trent, or Gabriel like I can't. Like these guys have too much of a good fixture. So Nico Williams will have to hold the bench for this week. So yeah, overall, let me know what you guys think of the team, how I'm lining up. I do have one free transfers, and I'm looking to roll as my plan is to am in 24. So now let's move on to the predicted doubles and blank game weeks, as well as potential chip strategies for those with triple captainship available, as well as those who doesn't. So yeah, here are the predicted doubles and blanks. One double game week is confirmed, as you guys know, which is the Liverpool as well as Everton. Liverpool will have Bournemouth and Everton both away. Everton will have Leicester and Liverpool both at home. To be honest with you, Liverpool, a lot of people are making that these are tough fixtures, which I understand. So some people are hesitant about using the triple captaincy chip. So it makes sense, but you also got to think if you have all the chips available, it is difficult to find other opportunities to use them in a double unless you're happy to use one of the chips in a single, like whether it be a triple captaincy chip or a bench boost. But if you want to use all your chips in a double, I guess, or most of them, you have to, I guess, use one of the chips, whether it be AM or the TC in game week 24. So my preference would be if I had the TC, I'll probably go Salah. I feel like it's a no-brainer considering his form this season. So the next question would be, which is the best Liverpool triple up? I personally think it could be depending on your team. Like if you have, for example, a Sanchez and maybe you have a Jackson. If it's easier for you to go to an attacker, definitely get the attacker in the likes of Gakpo. Whereas if you have, for example, Sanchez, you don't have another. For example, you have a JP or a Raul up front and with Isak or Wood. I wouldn't sell either of Isak or Wood for Gakpo. However, I would sell Raul if you have the money to upgrade to Gakpo. However, if you don't have the money, then I'll potentially look to double up on defense, which is not best, which is not the most ideal thing considering the fixtures in and around the double are quite good with Ipswich and Wolves. So I think the biggest upside was with the attacker. I agree, but the safest option is to go with a double defense. And for me, it's obviously Trent and Alisson is the safest option. That's because ultimately Van Dijk doesn't really provide the output for his price tag, as well as Kanate is a bit of injured out. Think about that. Ideally, you want to go for an attacker, considering that Gakpo has been starting recently. So yeah, I think that's all team dependent. My first option would be probably go for Gakpo if you have the slot available and the money available. However, if it's too much of a stretch and if he takes -4, just bring in an Alisson if you have a bad keeper like Sanchez. For Everton, what assets to bring in? I will not bring in any Everton assets. For me personally, it doesn't make sense. Unless, I guess, maybe Pickford if you have a really bad keeper in Sanchez. But other than that, I wouldn't bring in any of them. If you really wanted a bench option and you're like, I only need one player for this player for 1 week, maybe India as an attacker. But I'm not too high on Everton assets personally. So I wouldn't double or triple up on them. Maybe one. If he was an attacker, it's India. If he was a defender, it's Pickford. And then, the small blank game week in 29, as you guys saw, because of the Carabao Cup final. Listen, guys, this is all predicted, just to let you know, especially the blank game week. If Spurs beat Liverpool, then easily everything changes, right? Whereas if we're predicting right now to Liverpool beat Spurs at Anfield, then that means Villa as well as Liverpool will blank in 29. So if they blank, you got to look at your team and see what players to bring in now. Because a lot of people have triple Liverpool due to the double. A lot of people have double or triple Newcastle because of their fixture run that they've had. And a lot of people have 1 or 2 Palace. That's already 7 or 8 players, right? If you have that many players, you got to start saving transfers and think very carefully whether if you want to free hit in 29 or you want to basically navigate that. So ultimately, buy players depending on how many players you have from those teams and consider the fact that these teams could blank. And then obviously we have the double game week 33, which will be the rescheduled fixtures for blank game week 29. And that's the week most people are looking to either use an AM chip, bench boost, or a free hit for myself, for example. And then you have blank game week 34. Most people are looking to free hit in that week. I'm looking to navigate it myself. It's all team dependent, to be honest. It's hard to predict what games will be a blank because we haven't had all the FA Cup fixtures yet. So maybe around game week 28, we will know what will be the blank for 34, but not before that. And then we have big double game week in 36, which we do not know for sure what will be, but there are some projections I'll show you in the next slides. So for chip strategy, there are 2 routes, and that depends on which side of the coin do you fall in. For example, I'm on the side where I have no TC, so I'm looking to AM chip in 24 for a slot to go safe, and then maybe take a punt or 2. I could go maybe Pep, which I'll show you guys in the next slide, and navigate my blank game week 29, as well as free hit in 33 double. That is the big banker for me. And dead into 34 blank and wildcard 35 and bench push 36. For those who would TC, I think it's a bit more of a template route, which is TC in 24, Salah, free hit 29. If you have a lot of, for example, Palace, Newcastle, and Liverpool assets, and then bench boost in 33, dead into 34, wildcard 35, AM 36 to 38. I think that one makes sense, but the one I like the most for those who have the TC is TC 24, navigate blank 29, bench boost 33, free hit 34 blank, wildcard 35, simply because wildcard 35, due to the fact that the players that you're going to have in double game week 33, you can get rid of them in the wildcard and have a cheaper bench, like really cheap bench. That way you can fund your money to be able to use on a slot or a pep come game week 36 double. So you have enough money, so you won't struggle with the funds. So now let's look at the potential routes, how they look on the fixture tracker. So the first option for those who without TC, which is myself, my route would be, as I discussed, first I'll be going with slot from game week 24 to 25, who will be we will have Bournemouth, Everton, and Wolves, which I think are quite decent fixtures, to be honest. As long as I can get 25 points in those three fixtures, I'll be quite happy, to be fair. That's the lowest ceiling. And then you got a punty option. For example, I could go with the Ipswich manager who's got Spurs at home. I could go with, for example, maybe an Arteta to be safe, who's got less than 25 and West Ham in 26. Or I could go a bit more risky, for example, Pep, who has Liverpool at home. And if Pep is, say, maybe a 5 place or below Liverpool, is like 6th place, come game week 26, I could easily take a punt on Pep for sure. So there are definitely options. I could even go to a Fulham manager who has Forest at home. Forest have already lost to Fulham. So these are the options I have. There is definitely safe options as well as punt options I can take. So this makes sense for my chip strategy and my team. And I've been building my team towards that, to be fair. And then I'll be looking to free in double game week 33 and wildcard 35 as well as bench boost in 36. This would make sense for me, but obviously it's all team dependent. And I do not think it's the worst thing in the world to am in 24 because I know it's getting a lot of hate in the community. People are saying it's a tough fixtures, but at the same time, they're recommending you triple Liverpool and TC. So it doesn't make sense to me. I personally think for me, especially for those who already use the TC, this route does make more sense. So yeah, now let's look at the people that have the TC on what the route looks like. So if you have the TC, I personally think you can obviously, go for Salah triple captain game week 24, and then you either bench boost 33 and free hit 34 and Walker 35 and I'm in 36, 38. Obviously, there are other options like maybe you navigate both blanks, right? And you walk out early in game week 30, which I do not like personally. I feel like you're going to be carrying these players and these bench players, and you won't be have enough transfers to basically transfer them out as well as use other chips. So I personally like this strategy a bit more for the managers that have the TC. But it's a bit of template though, but it is what it is. Now let's look at game week 29, free hit team as well as non-free hit team and see how they compare. So first we have on the left, obviously the free hit game week 29 team with Sels, Aina, Nori and Guardiola, who all have great fixtures to be honest, as well as Bruno Fernandes and Bimo, Foden, Ahmad in midfield. Obviously United is Leicester away. Foden is Brighton at home, makes sense. And then you have Chris Wood, Haaland and Cunha. The biggest edge I see here is the fact that you can have triple City, as well as the fact that you can captain Haaland, which will be the best captain in that week. On the other hand, when you're looking at this is my team, by the way, I do have a good value. So, and I've also been planning for this free hit, for a while now. So it could be different for others. I'll be potentially playing with 10 players because I would like to keep Hall for the fixtures after game week 29 blank. But I could also look to sell him, right? So I do have the options. I could maybe potentially bring in Guardiola for Hall. Now, when I'm looking at this team, obviously the biggest weakness I do see is that I have no City assets. Hence, I would potentially want to get Guardiola for Hall, which I can decide come game week 29 if I want City defenders or not, if they improve defensively, which I do have that luxury to do. Or I could even sell Isak and maybe, get Marmoush, who, if he looks good, I could definitely get him instead of Haaland, right? So I mean, there's a lot of information that we need to wait and see how City looks. But overall, I'll probably have 11 players playing. But for now, I'm showing with 10 players with 3 transfers in the bank as well as 1 million in the bank. I think City assets is what I'm missing. But in terms of a Forest defender, I already have. In terms of, I guess, 8 Nori versus Kirkes, I'll take that. And then in midfield, they have Mbimo. I will have Mbimo. They have United attacker. I will have an United attacker in Ahmad. And obviously, I guess Foden versus Palmer. And I think that's I'll take that chance. Foden has a good fixture, but I think Palmer can get a return in any given game week. And then in the forward position, obviously Cunha and Wood, which they will have as well. So I'm not missing that many assets except I guess City. So I can easily navigate the blank, as we predicted if Liverpool were to blank in game week 29. So yeah, I don't see much difference to be honest. If you start to plan early, guys, you can easily navigate game week 29. And this is what I'm trying to show. So again, as I said, it's all team dependent. If you already have 7-8 players from Palace, Newcastle as well as Liverpool, it's going to be a bit difficult, but it's still possible. It's still early days. So let me know what you guys think. That'll be it for this week. As I said, free hit for me is the biggest edge is in a double game week, which I'm planning to do in game week 33. And I feel like there's a lot of information we do not know still. And there's also a potential that come game week 25, that Spurs could double and that Amchu becomes even much better because they already got secured the top 8 spot in the Europa. And if they somehow magically, I don't know how, in Anfield pull off a quick one versus Liverpool and they beat Liverpool, there's a potential shout that they also double in 25. So I could go from Slot to I could go to a Fulham manager who also double, or I could go to Ange. So there are definitely other options, and there is an edge in Game Week 24. So let's hope it works in my favor. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to smash the like button. I appreciate all the support, and subscribe. And I'm gonna see you guys next week. Peace out.